When we talk about the 3Ds, we are talking about three concepts which are really going to affect, how we live, how we work, how we survive for well into the future. So talking about demography, talking about decarbonization, and then also talking about digitalization, right? And these are the facets which are going to affect our individual, our collective lives, as we move ahead into the future. We need to understand the demographic wants of the world. Now, here we are talking about population, talking about the divide in population, talking about the gender divide in population, and then also talking about the location divide in population. You and I, originally come from the African continent, which has, by all means and intent, the youngest or the most youthful population in the world. Now, what happens if we are not developing that population as well as we need to? Then we see a mass exodus of people wanting to leave the continent and coming to, different places, not just Europe now, but also Asia. Um, they also want to go to South America. They also want to go to Australia. But then what happens to the continent? So this is how we are also training our students, to be able to understand this. Now, we're also talking about digitalization, which is a very key aspect of the way the world is working now. And I mean, just to take it back to our computer science for business program, where a lot of companies these days, if they do not have the right data, they do not have the right information, really see that they fall behind. I mean, you remember my former boss, Lynn, who, before you went up to her, she would always tell you, okay, what are your statistics, right? Because before you approve anything, before you can work anything into your system, it's always very important to understand what is the data that you have to back these choices or these decisions that you want to make. Now, the fact that this is asked does not mean you always will get it correct, but it's just that you are not working from a gut feeling, that you are coming from a very informed perspective. And when we also talk about, decarbonization, here we are talking about the fact that we need to leave the planet in a way that will ensure sustenance for generations after, we have left to be able to enjoy. So everything that we study, everything that we work, and everything that we produce has to have an element of sustainability. So this is why we have combined what we call the 3Ds, and we have influenced our lessons and our classes and our training concepts by these 3Ds to ensure that every student who leaves our campus and goes into industry is influenced by these benchmarks. How sustainable do you want to be? How digitalized do you want your organization to become? And in doing these things, how are you ensuring that the population of the world is being served by your decision making?